Hey guys, my name is RGB and in today's video, I'm back to be working on the part 2 of Hazbin Hotel's redesigns. The last video had an overwhelmingly positive feedback, so I had to do you guys right and actually watch Hazbin. Before we start, thank you so much to everyone who watched the video, liked, subscribed, and commented. I loved reading every single one of your comments, and some of you people wrote really long essay worthy, and honestly, I felt so flattered by them, so thank you so much for the support. If this is your first time on the channel, don't forget to like and subscribe. In this video, I'll be redesigning Charlie, Veggie, Husk, and Nifty. So without further ado, let's go. First, of course, we'll be redesigning Charlie. To be completely fair with you guys, I don't actually have anything to say about Charlie's canine design. Her design is the most simple one, but I don't feel like it has any unnecessary details. It's kind of just Charlie, a little bit uninteresting, and I don't feel like it tells us a lot about her character. To be honest, I wish we could have learned more about her in the actual show. Charlie is the main character, but I had the impression that we knew very little about her and what truly goes on inside her head. She's very naive, has low emotional intelligence, and is very sheltered from the world. But like, why? We know she hasn't seen her mother in 7 years and that she barely talks to her dad or doesn't talk to her dad since her mom took her away, which leaves me thinking that she was alone for a long time until she met Veggie. Honestly, the timeline about her makes me very confused. I wish we can focus more on her on the next season. I want to know more about her since she's the princess of hell and very likely one of the most powerful characters in the entire show. I feel like she has a lot of potential and she can actually do a lot of things once she matures and learns what she really wants to do. We got a little bit of insight on characters like Angel Dust. His episode was very entertaining and again, I really wish we got something like that for Charlie. Also, I really got to mention that her voice actor sings really well, but I don't enjoy most of her solo songs, sadly. Maybe it's personal taste, but I wish her songs wouldn't get overshadowed by others. I saw this one video talking about how Charlie is a bad character, which isn't a hate video, it's actually a very good video analyzing it. If I find it, I'm going to show here on the screen. It's very nice, it made me a lot more interested in Charlie as a character. Also, I want to leave here the Hell's Greatest Father and Harris Forever are really nice songs, probably my favorite ones. They kept playing in my mind for days after I listened to them, so congrats to the creators. Okay, so about the actual redesign, I'm not sure this is canonical, but many people mentioned that Hell is themed after a circus, with Lucifer being the ringleader and the other 7 deadly sins being different parts of the circus cast. I've decided to give Charlie the ringleader aesthetic since my Lucifer is very toned down on this specific aesthetic, mostly because since I haven't watched the show, I probably didn't pay attention to that since I've learned because of the comments. But in the end, I think it's pretty interesting because Lucifer is really a lot more hands-off when it comes to hell. He doesn't engage in any specific activities, he doesn't want to speak to the angels, and we see that he lost a lot of faith he had on the sinners and how they could be rehabilitated. So my Charlie, she's mostly claiming the ringmaster spot, so she can help the sinners, guide them to salvation, and help structure hell again. Ringleader, ringmaster. If I said ringleader before, I was wrong. I was thinking it's ringmaster. Okay. So even if Lucifer is still technically the leader of hell, he's not the main character, and he appears very little in the show. So I think it would be fair for Charlie to have this big ringmaster aesthetic, especially because I feel like you could have added a lot more to her character. Even though her daddy issues were resolved in one single episode, I feel like the impact this whole relationship had on her would be very hard to take off because she's trying so hard to be like her dad and do the same things he did and achieve his dreams that she just, without noticing, she starts dressing up like him. She starts trying to take on duties she doesn't really need to. I don't know if it was hard to understand this thing. I really hope you guys understand why I gave her such a big ringleader aesthetic and why I actually gave her Lucifer's hat. And I also mimicked some details I put on my other Lucifer design to kind of show that, whoa, she's trying a lot to look like him. Aside from that, I mostly gave her a bit more of a goat aesthetic too, with her hoofs, and I think it's mostly just her hoofs, honestly. And together with her hairstyle change. She has snakes just like on my Lucifer redesign, but everything is tied up in a big bun and it probably only lets loose when she's like, oh, I hate you so much. The color palette, I kept mostly the same. I kept her pink because I think the reddish pink she has is very characteristic to her, but I added a lot more of darker colors because she's kind of directly mirroring her father father who has a lot of white, a little bit of tainted white because he's kind of fallen angel and he has some black too in my redesign. But she's like mostly black. She doesn't have anything white besides her face. So she's like, she was born in hell. She is devilish. She is a devil, even if she's nice. But her father was a fallen angel, so he's not technically from there. Anyways, let's not get into it. If you guys have any opinions on this, please leave in the comments. I could talk about this for a long time because I watched Hazbin and I'm just like, my mind is exploding. Anyways, let's go to Veggie. With Veggie, I feel like I didn't do much changes on her. I really didn't change anything. I like Veggie's style. I think it's okay. The only thing I truly changed is that I gave her boots and pants because her entire thing is to protect Charlie, and fighting with a skirt isn't really that practical in my opinion, even if she can pull it off. I thought a lot about giving her armor and putting more angelic aspects to her design, but like we learned in the last episode, angels don't use much armor, so that would translate to Veggie believing she can't really get hurt, so she won't wear any armor. Also, I feel like her color palette, spear, and the X on her eye also tell us mostly what everything we needed to know. I didn't have much to work with when it came to Veggie, and I think that reflects on how little I changed of her. Since now her light changed and she doesn't have a era she died in like the other characters because she's an angel, and there wasn't much I could add to tell more about her because we don't actually know a lot about her. We know she was an angel and we know that she wants to protect Charlie, and that's everything. That's honestly everything I got from her when I was watching the show. I also didn't give her fancier clothes just because I don't think she's the type to be fancy for usual everyday outfits, and again, it wouldn't be very practical for fighting. Also, when it came to her color palette, I was like, she has more red than I expected because I remember the palette Veggie and she barely had any red, so I was a little I was faced with the too much red controversy Hazbin Hotel has when I was working on this specific redesigns, because I know hell is usually associated with red, fire, and blood and these kinds of things, so I tried looking at other media that also have a hell team, and this can be a little biased, but obey me, shall we date? Does this hell aesthetic thing really well. They do have a predominance of black in their hell aesthetic as it's always night, but I personally find it a lot more pleasing and easy on the eye, and most of the cast has a lot of variety in their colors. I think Hazbin has an issue where they make both the characters and the settings they're in be too much alike. Like, the characters wear too much red for no real reason, and the backgrounds have too much red also for no real reason. I think if Hell had a palette change, the characters could keep their red clothing and pop out without it being too much for the viewer's eye. But anyways, I lost track a lot, so that's Veggie. She's the one I redesigned the least so far because really I don't have much to work with, and I didn't want to enhance her mouth characteristics because I don't know, I didn't think that would be very fitting because I've been drawing mostly only hellish characters, very furry-like, and since she's an angel and an exterminator, I don't know why she would suddenly become more moth-like when she went into hell. Maybe if she's more into it, she becomes more animal-like. I don't really know how Hazbin human-like and animal-like things separates, or like, I don't know how that works. So that's Veggie. So now we'll be going on Husk. Now we start being serious. Out of this entire group, he's probably the one I had the biggest problem with the design. I personally find his color palette and character okay. So you're gonna see I didn't change much of his color palette. I probably only picked the pinkish red and made it more red. But personally, what I don't really like is how cluttered everything looks. And I don't think his wings mean anything to him as a character. So I also gave him a different body type because it suits him. Okay, so to nobody's surprise, I changed all of that on him. I kept the fact that he's a cat, or at least I tried to, because when I look now, he kinda looks like a wolf. So maybe I failed terribly there. But mostly everything just got replaced, or I took it out. I can't say for certain, maybe he has a reason to have his wings, but if that ever does come into topic, we can make him have a wing restoration scene just like a Veggie head. Also, one thing about his design is I'm not really sure if it was just me not paying attention, but when I look at him, it takes a long time to connect the dots that he was supposed to be a gambler and have this casino theme around him. I only understood that after he said it out loud. I tried my best to give him more casino features, whatever that means. I think the cards on his pocket are a big sell, just like I changed the patterns on his ears because The hearts, even though they are in the cards, they're just hearts, you know? I feel like they could have been a little bit more creative and used different symbols from poker cards. Also, I don't know if it will be noticed, probably most people won't notice, but the little things of his suspenders are supposed to be those casino money things. I forgot the name. Little chips, whatever. So I just thought it would be funny, but it was so cartoony. I don't think it's that easy to understand. Also, when I lined up all of the characters, this is a little bit off topic when you come into Husk, but I noticed that the second bunch of character redesigns, they look so much more cartoony than the first one. I think it's mostly because I'm with the actual show so fresh in my head that I'm kind of trying to replicate the style a lot harder. I personally really like how it looks, but when you put the entire cast together, you kind of see that the dudes I redesigned look a lot more detailed than the cast I'm drawing now. So I don't know, maybe I can redesign them a second time. I probably won't make a video of it. I'll just post it on social media. And now that I actually watched the show, I see that there are some things that I could have done differently. I mean, especially with Lucifer, because I think I could have done him a little bit sillier. My Lucifer just looks too badass for the actual Lucifer, who is a very silly little guy. Overall, back into topic, Husk is a really interesting character. I really hope we can see more of him and Alistair's relationship in the next season. I really like his voice. I like how he's always the voice of reason when it comes to things. And I really wish he had the body type I gave him because he looks so cool. He's probably one of my most favoritist redesigns I made, even though I struggled a lot with his legs and face because I can't draw furries correctly. I hope you guys also like him. I know he's a lot more simple, but I think there's no reason to overcomplicate things when you don't really need to. Also, if you're watching the video up to this point, don't forget to like and subscribe. I know some people forget to do that when they're watching the videos, and it's okay. But if you watched so far and you're paying attention, please don't forget to subscribe. I really want to be able to reach 1,000 subs as fast as we can, because then I can try to focus more on the channel. So please help me out. Please help me out. We're so close. Okay, so I think that was Husk and Nifty. Okay, I'm running out of fuel to speak. Nifty, I changed her color palette so much for just because. To be fair, she was the one I researched the least. I know that she's supposed to be a housewife from this specific era, and she's kind of crazy, and she has a bug-like motif. But on the series, I don't feel like she's that important. Every time she appears, she's just like a comic relief, which makes me kind of not care too much about how I redesigned her or how it could end up impacting on the show. But one thing I kept consistent was the gunshot wounds. I think those are gunshot wounds. I read somewhere that they're supposed to be how she died, so I was like, I'm not going to do anything with it, because what if I'm taking a special character thing from her? So I just let it there. I changed her color palette to this mixture between green, bluish, and this yellowish orange, because it's cute. It's a color palette I like, and I didn't get to use that with anyone else from the cast up to this point, so I had to do it to her. I had to do it to them. I hope you guys enjoy Nifty. Also, I'm not sure if there's much else to talk about Hazbin. When I actually watched the show, I watched it thinking that was going to be really bad. And honestly, it's not that great of a show, but I don't think it deserves the most aggressive hate it gets. The point of a show is being entertaining, and besides the first episode, I was definitely entertained by the rest of the episodes. Serpentious definitely turned into my favorite character because he's so funny, and every time he was on screen, I was entertained, and I even cried a little bit when he kind of whooshed to heaven. So that's something. Props to them. It is a very entertaining show. I just wish it wasn't so rushed, and I wish it had more deep meaning into things. I wish they would take their characters more seriously. I wish they would present the story in a more mature tone, because even if the series does say they are mature and they're supposed to be targeted towards a mature audience, everything is tackled in a very childish way. And I wouldn't recommend the series to my sister, who is like a normal person, you know, which is actually pretty funny, because there are mature shows like Game of Thrones and House of love the dragon. They are mature, they have a lot of really bad stuff going on, and even then, I could tell a normal person from my everyday life to watch it because it takes itself seriously. Even if it was an animated show, it would still be very worthwhile, which I don't really feel that way with Hazbin, and I really hope they start putting more effort into the lore building and writing in the second season, because I am invested now in Hazbin, so I want it to get better. So we're done with Nifty. She was definitely the one I drew the fastest because she's so tiny and simple. So here's the lineup of all the characters. I really hope you guys enjoy this, and if you have any ideas for future videos and redesigns, or if you want to see me redesigning other Hazbin characters, do let me know. I'm still very new to this redesigning kind of thing. I don't line up my characters properly when they're out of the videos, so if you watch my first video and you watch this video, you're gonna see that the designs are kinda very different because one are more cartoony than the other. I'm still getting pretty used to it, but I hope you guys can enjoy it either ways. I really like this bunch right now. I can, in the future, if you guys want to, I could redesign the first redesign. Of course, not make a video, but I could make a short or post in the community tab once we unlock it. It's all up to you guys. Whatever you guys want me to do, I'll be doing it, because without you guys watching me, I'm no one, right? So please don't forget to subscribe and comment and leave a like and share the video with whoever you think it will be watching and enjoying the content, because this is very important to me. Everything I do with a lot of heart. I do it with the few bits of time I have left for my day, so it's a lot of sacrifice we put into these things. So if you like it, please let me know, because every single comment does change my day and make it a lot better. Thank you so much if you watched up to this point. Thank you so much for giving me your time. I'll see you in the next video.